Okay, what's up? So, I've been waiting on this to come all week. It is going to be, this is a very special video, by the way. I'm going to use the old clone here. And open up. And let's see, let's get this open. Oh, if we can get it out in there pretty good. Oh, look at this. I seen one of these in real life for the first time when I was down in Richmond, Virginia. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It is. I know this won't focus. But it's a gentleman gym. A real gentleman gym. Lockup's pretty good. About 50%. And I bought this used. By the way, I'm so very glad it has standoffs. I bought this used knowing that it has just a little chip in the tip of the blade there. No big deal. We can polish that, or we can sharpen that right out. Okay. So I can see right off the bat that it's not centered, obviously. So we can just adjust the pivot screw. No big deal. I knew all this going into it, by the way, but it is extremely smooth. The liners are smooth with the scales, and you know, in true Emerson fashion, it's got good ergonomics and no burrs up on the spine, which, you know, that's kind of something that kind of irks me. There's not much scratching to the blade, you know, that's kind of nice. Some wear on the pocket clip, no big deal. But I'm going to go ahead real quick, and I'm going to clean this up, make some adjustments to that pivot, and I'm going to pretty much disassemble this knife, clean it all out. So, So let's get to it. I'm gonna do that, and then I'll come back to you. Oh yeah, you can see some little marks here in the. I don't know how well that'll show up, but some marks here in the liners. But we can sort of polish those out. No big deal. Really not anything worth worrying about, to be quite frank. The liners are, by the way, stone washed. At least they look that way on the outside. The insides don't look stone washed at all, but let me get it cleaned up and adjusted. This is a used, obviously. I'll get it cleaned up, adjusted, and then I'll come back with a video and I'll just sort of give you my initial impressions after it's all adjusted and cleaned up. Okay, real quick, part 2 on Project Gentleman Jim. So, here it is. And I've cleaned up and washed the scales. Put a little WD-40 on it, let it soak in, and then wipe it off, and it kind of brings back that luster. Okay, and then polished the liners. Wiped off the standoffs because it was pretty dusty. Again, just a little gun oil to bring out the luster. The 9mm, there we go, 9mm stud. Okay, this thing was already smooth opening. Here a little rubbing in there. And it wasn't centered either. Now it is. That SJ cam doesn't seem to focus when you bring things in close, so there we go. Just to show that this is not a clone Gentleman Jim. And just to show you the damage that the tip has in it, you can see almost there's them little tiny chips. Oh, that's better. Now, I was gonna take these out, but it was a lot of work, so I just left it. If those chips end up somehow, if I do something and bust this tip off, I'll just send it back to Emerson for a new blade. So dress the edge. This 154 cm, it really takes an edge well. Something else I didn't know I want to bring up. The Gentleman Jim has a Prestige, like a CQC7V. It has that Prestige edge. So you see the edge there. And then you see like the V type bevel on this side. So this thing is as smooth as molasses, and I was saying about a 50% lockup, give or take. And so my very first Emerson, I do have, obviously, I believe this is a 630 carbon fiber clone that, to be honest with you, has just been excellent. And then, as you know, a 7V clone. So now, my thoughts, final thoughts, if you will, on, Chinese quality versus Emerson quality. I believe that this opens a lot smoother than Emerson, true, actual Emerson clones, such as this 7V. The 630, it opens like glass. It's a clone. This thing is pretty nice, though. I mean, it did have like water jet or laser markings, and you can see inside those inside the ribs here, you can still see some of those laser lines. I'm not getting down in there to polish them, but I did go along the back. You can see in the back the laser lines. Yeah, I'm not going in there to polish that. I like this contrast where you have polished edges, and when you look inside the liner, you can see those sanding marks. Or grind marks, whatever you want to call them. I think that looks kind of cool. But pocket clip's kind of tight. That's going to be replaced. There's going to be another part to this project. This is just what I could do with what I had on hand. But in part 2 of this Gentleman Jim, Pimp Your Gentleman Jim, or whatever you want to call it, we're going to go carbon fiber scales, carbon fiber clip, and I don't know if I want to do like titanium screws, like blue pivot pins, blue screws, or just go with stainless screws and whatever, but that's all I could do, in the little time that I opened this morning. I think everyone will want to know. I'll see if I can do it, because I can't do this very good on camera. I've tried. Oh, yeah. But what this cannot do is it's so hard to get tiny little peels, I don't know if that's because of that style of edge, but it just doesn't peel. It doesn't do super fine shavings, I don't think. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it can curl them good. So Emerson, Gentleman Jim, always wanted one of these. I mean, this is probably, to be honest with you, the first Emerson that I seen that, I mean, this was the knife, I believe, that truly turned me on to Emerson knives. And then obviously a 7. I was really nuts for the 7, and then I seen the 7V, and the 7V to me, or a 15, is really the holy grail for me as far as Emersons go. But this is pretty cool. Pretty cool. And like I said, with carbon fiber and polished liners and a carbon fiber clip, This probably will be a gentleman, quote-unquote, gentleman's knife. If there was such a Emerson tactical gentleman's Emerson, I believe carbon fiber and polished liners would be the ticket. Maybe I should polish that head of that screw too. But there we go. Hope you enjoyed it, and catch you around in the next exciting video.